Okay, so I've been recording a few videos on why people should consider doing a degree apprenticeship over going to university, and someone left a comment on one of these videos and asked a really good question. What would you advise someone who got rejected from all degree apprenticeships and their only option is university? So in this video, I'm going to give my thoughts on that, so hopefully it will help anyone who's in a similar situation and you want a bit of guidance on what to do. So there's two things I want to talk about with regards to this question. So the first thing is to do with what you said there. You got rejected from all degree apprenticeships and your only option is university. Okay, so from what you've said, it basically tells me that your number one option was degree apprenticeships. Your number two option is university. Like university is like your backup. This is how I see this sort of situation. And let me give you like a scenario to like sort of, this will explain it better. It'll explain my way of thinking and how I think about this sort of thing. And it'll all make sense in the end, okay? So I want you to imagine it's like 10 p.m, you're in your house or whatever, and then your friend messages you and says, I've just got into town or something, do you want to go watch a movie, right, at the cinema, okay? It's 10 p.m. And you're like, yeah, sure, and it's 10 p.m, okay? So the cinemas are going to be closing soon, do you know what I mean? Like, if you went at 3 p.m, you've got the whole day, it's like 10 p.m, they've probably got one or two films left to show, right? So you don't even have time to go on like the website and check what films are available. You literally order the Uber comes, get in the Uber straight to the cinema, you meet your friend there, okay? The plan is both of you want to go and watch Dune 2. Okay, Dune 2 is like the new film, everyone's talking about it, adverts on buses, on like TV, or that sort of thing. Your plan is to go to the cinema, meet up with your friend and watch Dune 2. Okay, so you get there, probably about 10:15 now, because it's taking like, it's not far, but it's taking 15 minutes for the Uber to get there and take you and that sort of thing, right? Get there at 10:15, pull up with your friend, you go into the cinema and look at the movie listings. There's only one movie left. And it is some random Disney movie, like Coco. Right? Coco is like the 10:30 p.m. showing of this cinema. There's no June 2, like the last June 2 showing was at 8:30 p.m. That's like, it's like almost finished now, you've missed it, okay? So then you have a talk with your friend, you're like, okay, what do we want to do here? We've met up, I've spent money on the Uber, we're here. Do we just go home because June 2 isn't on, or do we watch Coco now that we're here, right? And they basically have this discussion and you're like, you know what, let's just go with Coco, we're here. What's the worst that can happen? It might not be the best film, but we'll just give it a try. And then you buy the tickets. So it's probably like, if you're at View, you'll probably get away with like £5 tickets. if you've gone to Cineworld, you're going to be scammed. It's going to be like £15 plus like £10 for the popcorn. But whatever. You buy the tickets, £5, £15, whatever. Like you buy standard tickets, probably because it's 10:30 and it's a Disney movie. No one's there. You go like sit on the premium seats anyway, even though you bought the standard. You know what I mean? You know how the deal is. And then you go there and then you watch your Coco movie, okay? Now you're probably thinking, what the hell does this have to do with degree apprenticeships and university? This is gonna make sense, okay? This is how it worked in my head when I was thinking about this, right? What's happened is your ideal plan was watching Dune 2 at the cinema. And Dune 2, that would have been great. That's what you wanted to watch with your friend, but it wasn't available, okay? Like all the showings had already finished, there wasn't a showing. The only showing was like this backup option, which was Coco, and you're like, you know what, let's just go with it, okay? It's not ideal, I'd rather be watching like Timothée Chalamet and like Zendaya on June 2, but we'll do Coco, some random Disney Pixar movie no one's heard of or ever even watched, right? So you spend £5 on it, £10, £15, okay? You spend £15 per ticket to watch Coco, that's your backup option, okay? I now want you to imagine this exact same situation, okay? So you wanted to go and watch Dune 2, you turn up to the cinema, but Coco cost £10,000. Okay? Tickets to Coco cost £10,000. And okay, fine, popcorn as well. Tickets to Coco and popcorn cost £10,000. Would you do it? Let's just be honest. No, of course you wouldn't. That's just a stupid scenario, right? You wouldn't do that. That's exactly how I view university for people who want to do degree apprenticeships. If you wanted to go to university because like that's part of your path, you want to go and study astrophysics and become a PhD scientist or whatever, fine, go to university, that's a good investment. The way I see it is, if your goal is degree apprenticeships, that's how you want to do it the whole time, and you just happen to not get the offers this year, why would you then suddenly spend £10,000 on your backup option, right? If the backup option cost £5, there was a £5 View Coco ticket to go to university, then fine, I just tell you, yeah, go to university, fine. Because it's like, it's your backup option, it's not the end of the world, you're only losing £5. But the thing is, when people are going to university as a backup option, like they don't even want to go, they're going because they have to, you're literally spending £10,000 to go watch a Disney movie that you don't care about. That probably flopped at the box office. £10,000. That's how I see it. It's like, yeah, sure, backup, be on the safe side or whatever, or like, so I'm doing something for a year, but it's like £10,000, like whatever the tuition fee, I think that's like 9,000 or something. Then all you need to do is just add on a bit of interest, add on like maintenance loan, which you probably got as well. Cost of living from home. If you move to like a city or something, it's probably more expensive. Like, do you know what I mean? You're spending £10,000 on a backup option. Okay, that's something I want you to think about. These two things I'm talking about, these are two things you need to think about. Obviously, I don't know your personal situation. I'm not going to be able to tell you, right, this is exactly what you do. I need you to go to this university, or like, no, don't go to university, go to this. Obviously, I can't do that, okay? These are just two general things to think about when you're considering whether basically do you just go to university as a backup or do you leave it another year, that sort of thing. First thing I want you to think about is that's an expensive backup. That's an expensive backup for something you don't even want to do. You're like £10,000 just because like one thing went wrong, and now what do you know what I mean? Okay, that's the first thing. Now let's move on to the second thing. You mentioned that you got rejected from all degree apprenticeship offers. Okay, so these are the questions I'd be asking myself. If I was in this situation, I got rejected from all degree apprenticeship offers, I'd be asking these questions to myself. Where did I go wrong? Okay, that's the question I'd be asking. I would be analysing my like performance in like crazy detail to work out exactly what went wrong. Okay, so that's something I would recommend you do before you go about making a decision about whether you do whatever you want to do. I'd say first of all, analyse what went wrong with these degree apprenticeship offers. Okay, was it you applied to one company and they rejected you, or you applied to 3 companies and they rejected you? Okay, was it you applied to all these companies, submitted your CV, and all of them you got kicked out in the first stage? Like you didn't even make it to second or third stage of any of them. Maybe it's that. If it's that, if literally you didn't make it past the first stage, think about why was that? Why didn't I get past the first stage? Go in detail on your CV. Go in detail on your cover letter, your application questions. What is it? Maybe on your CV you notice I didn't have any work experience. Or like I didn't have any online courses. Or I didn't submit a cover letter for any of them. Right? You need to find that constraint, because maybe that constraint is you don't have work experience. That's why you got rejected. Or maybe you applied to 5, you got through all the initial application processes, you got to online testing for all 5, but then you got like rejected at every single online testing stage. You didn't pass a single online testing stage. And then that's your constraint. Your constraint is the online testing stage. This is what this stage is about. I want you to just go through the application process, identify constraints. Maybe you were making it all the way to assessment centres, but when you're in interviews, you like didn't know what to say, you didn't have any answers. You like kept like fumbling your words, right? Or maybe you did an in-person assessment centre and you couldn't even hold eye contact with the interviewer and you were really nervous and not confident. Maybe you did the group exercise and you didn't want to speak to people you didn't know, so you didn't talk. Maybe it was the presentation, you didn't do enough preparation. Yeah, you need to go and analyse in every detail, in like super detail, every single part of the application process for every company you applied to and got rejected from. Okay, identify your constraint. Then, basically the next stage is what can I do to fix this constraint? Can this constraint be fixed? Okay, that's the next question you need to ask yourself. So if you like do this analysis of your performance of this year where you got no offers, analyse your performance. If you look at it and be like, I applied to 3 and I got rejected from all of them, how could you improve that? Apply to more next year. You shouldn't have been applying to 3, you should have been applying to 20. Okay? That's what you do. Get the constraint. How can it be fixed? Maybe your constraint is you got rejected from all the initial applications, you went through all your CVs, you didn't have any work experience. How do you fix that constraint? Get work experience. In the next 6 months, get work experience. Right? If maybe it was online testing, that was your constraint, maybe you're going to notice a pattern. I got rejected from every online testing. Ask yourself the question, did I even take the time to Google up on YouTube how to pass online testing, how to pass Arctic shores? Literally count in your head, how many video tutorials did I watch on passing degree apprenticeship online testing? And if the answer is 0, you know what your constraint is. And then you can think about how can I improve this next year? Watch videos on how to do online testing, how to pass Arctic shores, right? Again, assessment centre, what it is, the constraint. Is it you didn't prepare enough for the presentation? That can be rectified, because next year you just do more preparation for the presentation. Was it you were really nervous? Can that be rectified? You got to ask yourself these questions, because this is all boiling down to stick or twist. Okay, it's basically you're in a stick or twist situation. Okay, so you wanted degree apprenticeships, it didn't work the first time. Okay, option one, you stick with degree apprenticeships. Okay, and that means basically you take a gap year. You take a gap year, don't go to university, and so you're not paying anything, but you're also not getting a salary or anything like that. You just like have a year out, and you're going to focus on making sure you get a degree apprenticeship offer the next year. Okay, you're like double down on apprenticeships. You're sticking, stick or twist, you're sticking to apprenticeships. It means over the next 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, whatever, you're going to do all the actions that you just identified in the last step. Okay, so it's like you're going to get work experience. You're going to focus on like doing practice assessment centers so you're not nervous. You're going to watch videos on online testing. You're going to fully dedicate yourself. You're going to do these online courses. You're going to get better at interviews. You're going to get better at group exercise. You're going to get better at talking to people, like shaking to people's hands and like doing eye contact. You're going to get better than that. That's the stick option you have. The other option is twist. And the twist option is where you just have to say to yourself, right, apprenticeships are out the window. I'm going to twist my strategy. You know what? I'm going to go to university. And it's which one of those do you want to go with? Stick or twist? And I think what an important thing to do is be honest and be like, do you think you can improve genuinely? Because you've identified the constraints, as I've just said. You've identified the possible actions you could take. You have to be honest with yourself and say, are those actions possible? Is it realistic? It's not even about if it's possible, because it is, in my opinion, anyone can be at any level with enough practice and the correct guidance and the correct like coaching through it. You can become like amazing in interviews. That's just my opinion. If you do enough practice on it, you can become amazing in interviews. So the question you need to ask yourself is, it's not about like, can I become amazing in interviews? It's about, will I? Am I willing to put in the effort to do it? Okay, because it is a lot of work. You can't just go from no degree apprenticeship offers and like, I don't know, being shocking at interviews and literally can't answer any questions, to all of a sudden you apply next year and you get an offer from 10 companies and your interviews are amazing. It doesn't just do that overnight. It's not just a case of you do nothing for 9 months, apply on the next application cycle and magically every company wants you. It is hard work, okay? It's evenings, days, nights, mornings, whatever, doing the work, doing like loads of applications, watching videos, doing like mock interviews, mock assessment centers, practice, right? And that is what it takes to get yourself up to the level you need to be, okay? So this is basically thing number 2 to think about, is stick or twist, okay? As I said, I can't like give you specific advice, you do this, I don't know you, right? But it's basically, there's 2 things I want you to think about. Number 1, you're paying £10,000 for a backup option. You're paying £10,000 for an option you don't even want if you choose the university option. That's just something to consider from a financial perspective. But then the second thing is like, consider it from like a strategy perspective, like a realistic strategy perspective. Should you stick or twist? Okay, I hope I've like provided you with the sort of things you need to think about in this video. These are the stages you need to go through. Go through your like what happened this year. Do like a sort of debrief. Think of it as a mission debrief. Go through and be like, what went wrong? Okay, I messed up all of my interviews. Okay, that's the constraint. Identify how this constraint could be fixed in an ideal world. Okay, so in an ideal world, I would do like literally 100 mock interviews. Okay, literally just go completely ideal world. Imagine like you have unlimited time, you can pause time, do whatever you want, you have all the money in the world, right? What's an ideal situation? You would literally do 100 mock interviews, or like you'd apply to 200, you'd literally do online testing like 100 times as practice, right? Or you'd watch like 8 hours of lectures on how to pass like 1 question on online testing, okay? Then the next question is, am I willing to do this? And I think that's the most important question, because I don't want to just tell you, oh yeah, you can do it, just put the work in, stick to an apprenticeship, because then what happens if you do the same again next year and you get rejected again? It basically means you're in the same situation and you're a year later. Personally, I don't think it's beneficial to be like losing years of your life. Like, I know you're not losing years of your life because you're still alive, but I mean like, you don't want to, in my opinion, I don't think you necessarily want to be holding back years if you don't have to. Like, I think if you can start an apprenticeship at 18 or 19 or like 20, that's better than starting it at like 22, 23, 24. Because you're just like 2 or 3 years ahead of everyone else in terms of like your progress, where you're at. So I don't want to just say, you know what, stick with degree apprenticeships, they're amazing, you can do this, you can do this, and then next year you do exactly the same and you don't get any offers. Because then like it's helped no one. Maybe university is the path. It's basically a case of stick or twist. Do you have it in you, like the drive in you and motivation and discipline to stick to the game plan? Okay, to double down on degree apprenticeships, to work super hard, to work like a dog, to basically get good at these interviews, to get good at these assessment centers. To like literally when your like brain is telling you, oh, I can't be bothered, you literally do it anyway. Like your brain's telling you, oh, let's just apply to one company, I'll get it. Instead, you're applying to 50. Or instead of like, I don't know, like the night before your assessment center, instead of just watching a movie on Netflix, you decide to, you know what, I'm going to do a practice interview that lasts 3 hours and I'm going to answer 100 questions. That's the question you got to ask. So I hope that video's helped. 2 things to think about. The cost of a backup is £10,000. Do you want to spend £10,000 on something you don't want? And then number 2 is stick or twist. Do you have it in you to stick? If not, maybe twist will be more useful for you. I hope that helps. I hope that helps your thinking. Have a great rest of your day.